The government has revealed its fix to a so-called widow's tax brought on by their budget tax changes to negative gearing. Senator David Pocock flagged the loophole where an Australian could lose their negative gearing on a property if they inherited their partner's share through death, divorce or separation. But the Treasurer says that will no longer occur, with negative gearing set to follow the inheritance once the changes pass through Parliament next week. For their take, let's bring in Allegra Spender, Community Strong Australia MP, and Bridget McKenzie, National Senate Leader. Good morning to both of you. Bridget, David Pocock says these changes are urgent. Will this fix get bipartisan support?
Well, I think what we're seeing with another backflip from Labor is confirmation of Labor's economic incompetence. The fact that nearly 3 months after the federal budget's handed down, we're having to again have to fix up a mess of Labor's making, I think says everything about the Labor Party. And instead of actually focusing on growing the economy, cutting taxes, backing small businesses, they're literally attacking hardworking Australians. They talk a lot about fairness, Nat. The Labor Party talks a lot about fairness. But you've got to look at what people do. And their federal budget has literally been attacking divorcees, widows, families just trying to build something for their family's future through their hard work.
So you'll support
And again,
it?
that says everything about their lack of plan.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to help them fix up their mess, but Nat, we've made it very clear that we'll be repealing these bad taxes if we get the chance to govern.
But just clarifying, you're going to support this?
Yes.
Yes, that absolutely.
Well, we're going to fix that, yeah.
Yes,
but we're going to repeal the negative gearing changes, the toxic taxes
if you get in,
that
but
the
just
Labor Party
now
has brought in this federal budget.
Yeah, you're going
Absolutely.
to support this change. Okay, just clarifying that. Allegra, can we trust there won't be any more unintended consequences from the budget tax reforms? Because there seems to have been quite a few things they've changed afterwards.
Look, I think we don't know, and I think this is, the real challenge of really pushing through and rushing through legislation as quickly as they have on the budget. I think it's right that the government is addressing this issue. It was an important issue that was raised by David Pocock. But the other area that I'm really focused on is particularly on small and fast-growing businesses and making sure that these are still competitive to start and grow here in Australia because it's such an important part of our economy. And we really want to back young entrepreneurs. So this is an area that, again, the government is consulting on, but we don't yet know what fixes they're going to put in place. And I just want to urge the government is to say, look, their capital tax gain regime, it just doesn't work for those sorts of businesses. I think they should be doing something quite differently for those businesses because we want to keep those here in Australia. So with this sort of tax reform, I think you've got to take it slowly. And this is something I've been urging the government to do. I believe we had to address some of the property taxes because honestly, Sydney is the second most unaffordable housing in the world. We just can't keep on going on like this. So we do need to address it, but you've got to do it carefully. You've got to do it with consultation. I think the government hasn't done that well enough.
Well, they say they consulted after they announced it, and that's the way they do things. So that's their side. They've said it repeatedly.
Incompetent.
Especially on this program. So